You ever heard people say they didn't think Wingbits was going to make it because who would buy data from Wingbits when they can get it free online? Well, just don't listen to those people. You don't need that kind of negativity in your life. Welcome back to another video. I am the Grumpy Dad, and I guess I'll be grumpy until a lot of our projects start going mainnet, or until I don't have to do videos anymore because I'll be on a private island somewhere. But for those that are new here, thank you for joining. And as you can see, I don't have all the fancy production values and different things like that. I just try to bring things that are real to you, try to bring you the information. So in case you don't have time to go hunt it down yourself, you don't hear about it, then you will find out about it. And so I try to bring you all everything that I can about projects. This video will be about Wingbits. They had a big announcement come out recently. Didn't get a chance to do a video on it yet. Also, there was an AMA today, and I figured why not bring both of those together and discuss both of them. Try not to make this video too long. Before we get started on that, I'm gonna beg and plead like every YouTuber does. Please hit that little thumbs up button down there. That thumbs up button does more than you realize. YouTube puts a lot of weight into it, and you hitting that thumbs up button is not necessarily saying you agree with my poor production value of this video or anything like that. It's that you support the project, and it helps get that Wingbits information out to the YouTube algorithm when people are looking for that. I'll have it all tagged in the description below. It helps it out. Also, if you haven't subscribed yet, please consider subscribing. Also, hit the little bell notification next to subscriptions, because when I try to put sometimes very important, short timed, if you want to call it that, last minute videos, I don't want you to miss those type of things. So consider subscribing. Let's go get started about this information. So this video, I'm trying to make a video that's less than 20 minutes long. So I know that's very, very rare if you look at the hundreds of videos I've did, but I determined that I'm not going to make this too long for y'all, because I know some of y'all, like me, can't sit through videos 20, 30 minutes or an hour long. So we're going to get started, and I'm going to go ahead and assume that you know what Wingbits is at this point. If not, I have plenty of videos. Hey, my name's Grumpy, and I'm a Wingbits addict. That's what I can say right now. I have been with Wingbits in this project now. Again, one day I may get them to figure out how long my original station was online for. I want to say it was maybe June of last year. So it's been going on a good 19, 20 months now. So in those 20 months, I have expanded to 14 stations. Some of those are stations that I built myself with pies and formerly known as helium devices. Some of those are devices that are running what's called bitharveststudio, if you're familiar with that, which is third party. And it's similar to, they also have Crank that's out there. If you're familiar with Crank, or want to look into Crank, it's a third party software that you can put on a pie or a little potato or something like that, sweet potato, that you can run and multi-mine different projects, including Wingbits, if you have a DIY license. I also have helped several friends and family members get on board Wingbits also. And so I'm helping probably maintain over 20 stations, well over 20 stations, probably close to 25 stations right now. So look, I don't know everything. I'm gonna tell you I don't know everything, and I'm learning every day. We all learn every day. That's one of my mottos I've always said at work, and tried telling younger people. It even goes for crypto or some of these deep end projects. We're always learning, always asking questions, and we don't know everything, and I definitely don't know everything. But Wingbits recently had a big announcement on their Discord that we're going to go over real quick. And then we'll also get to discussing what they discussed in this AMA that they had today also. I think there's going to be some pretty interesting information to put a lot of these talkers to rest, these loudmouths that don't know what they're talking about. So yes, this did come out last week, and it came out Thursday. maybe sometime around Thursday, on my Thursday live is when I kind of recognized that this came out. And it kind of caught me by surprise. I said I was going to do a video on it. Weekend got busy. But I'm going to kind of summarize the whole thing, go over some of the goods. And you know me, I'm grumpy all the time, hence my name. And I've always joked with people who haven't heard this joke 20 times. I can be negative about everything. If I win $1 million in a lottery, I'd be upset because I'd have to give half of it to taxes. So, everything, to me, everything can be critiqued a little bit. It's not saying they're going to change anything, but hey, sometimes they want feedback. That's why this is called testnet or devnet in the Solana world. But, let's get, instead of me talking too much, let's go ahead and get started. So as they approach mainnet, we want to provide more detailed information, how retroactive rewards will work. So this is discussing the people like me and, a lot of people who are watching this video. How are they going to pay us or reward us for the testnet tokens that you can see now when you go on your Wingbits device? So here you can see my station. This is just one of, this is my account. And you can see I had 7,000 or 7,300 Wingbits over the last 7 days. So they want to discuss how are they going to start compensating that. Now we've seen with some other projects where, those projects, they gave different formulas. I think Soarchain was recently, for every test store that we had, T-SOAR, whatever you want to call it, they gave us 0.65 of the real thing. And Grass was also even more drastic. And Wingbits has decided that they will actually give us 1-to-1 on our tokens, which I think is awesome. So they will give us a 1-to-1 dashboard earnings ratio. So if you have 10,000 tokens before mainnet, you'll receive 10,000 tokens on mainnet. Now, there is a catch when you're looking at your dashboard if you have hosted stations. The first thing I want to say is make sure, you can't miss this right here, but it says tokenomics are still going to be, might subject to change. We're going to talk about that in a second because it possibly is changing. But when you see like this number right here, or even if you go into 30 days, and what did you get up to 30 days? Or what did you get up to 90 days? This is total for all of your stations, total. So like for me, who has host stations in different places around the United States, I have percentages, which I think that is a very awesome fact about this project is if I have a host station and we decided on a certain percentage, I can put that host's wallet in there for that station. Let Wingbits know in that little blank what is the percentage that I want to give him, and they automatically are going to pay him that percentage. It's awesome. I don't have to take that in and then pay it out like with taxes and stuff like that. It's going to go directly to him. But this number right here that you see here is the total per station. So if you have host and you have percentages set up in that wallet, you will not get this because some of this goes to your host. So make sure everybody realizes that. Again, if you don't have host, you don't have to worry about that. You should be getting 100% of that, plus more. So real quick, this will be over a 12-month distribution. We've seen a lot of projects do that. I think that's a bit long for me. That's just my only two feelings about it. We even seen recently like Soarchain. Soarchain is doing theirs over, I think, maybe 6 months or something like that, or every 2 weeks. But it's split up, and every 2 weeks they're giving you something, and it's not spread out as long as this. But I understand the reasoning behind it, and I do agree that they cannot give us all of this tokens first day one of mainnet. You would see drastic drops on whatever exchanges that this is going to be set up on, because people will be dropping this day one. I've already seen people talk about it, and I don't understand the logic, but hey, some people are in it just to make this quick money. I understand some projects and meme coins are like that, but this is that kind of project, especially for me, because I can see it as being a long-term project. But now you don't really have a choice because they will be distributing this out over time to prevent that, they want to create long-term engagement and sustainable incentives for ongoing community. So how are they going to do that? Well, they're going to give you bonuses for staying with the project and staying online. So your tokens will be credited to the account daily, even if your station is offline, for those payouts, whatever it is, from testnet. But however, for each day your station is online during that 12-month period, you'll receive a 1.2x multiplier on your retroactive rewards issued that day. So if when they take this testnet ratio and say you have 10,000 tokens, really you'll be getting more than that as long as your stations are online. When your station is online, you'll be getting 10. And as you can see right here, they kind of broke it down for you. You know, college math failed me, but basically, if your station's online, you'll get the 10 active rewards times a 1.2 bonus. So technically, you'll be getting 12. This is if you're supposed to be getting 10 a day. But if your station's offline, if for some reason your station goes offline, it blows up in a lightning storm, you had to move, something like that, they know they still owe you those testnet tokens, and they're still going to pay you, which I think is awesome of them. They don't have to do it, but I think it's a good thing for them to do. So that kind of covers this whole thing right here. On this side, I remember the point on the opposite side. But if you want to read this again, you go into the Discord, and I found that Discord has kind of slacked off a little bit. The one time was very, very busy, but hey, I think everybody's kind of just waiting. People who had the DIY stations, wants to reach the 2,000, they didn't give any more of those licenses at, but those are either running or they're not running. You don't have a lot of people who are still trying to set those up, so you don't get a lot of those questions. So it's not as busy right now. And you got people who are patiently, keyword patiently, waiting their stations from HiFix. Well, HiFix is who manufacture them. You will be getting them from whoever you bought your vendors from. If you haven't bought one yet, hint, hint, this code right here will save you 10%. Yeah, some people think I'm out there just blowing my code out there. But look, if you're going to buy one anyway, why not save the 10%? You know, it is what it is. Save the 10%. If you're buying a WINGBITS and geodnet combined device, you're saving almost $1,000. I'm sorry, you saved almost $100 off of a $1,000 device. And these are on discount right now because you're buying them as a pre-sale and not, post shipping, if that makes sense. They haven't been released yet. Now, talking about the timing of that. So we're going to start talking about what was discussed in this AMA today. So AMA was pretty cool. And people submitted questions. Then they decided, at some point they started taking questions from the crowd that was there and stuff. So one of the first things that they discussed, Robin, who is in charge of the project, he stated that they're hoping stations start arriving around, right after the first of the year. HiFix is who's manufacturing. The WINGBITS kind of said, this is the specs we want. And HiFix did the planning and manufacturing, the engineering on it and that kind of stuff like that to get it to work. So HiFix is handling all that, the distribution and all that. It's not on WINGBITS. WINGBITS has paid them or however that was worked out. But you should see stations hopefully right after the first of the year. Another thing is the Geosigners. A lot of us are waiting on Geosigners. If you have those devices, build your own devices like I was just discussing earlier. Hopefully Geosigners are coming in around Christmas, maybe a little bit before Christmas, possibly. Again, they don't know that for a fact yet. They discussed how they haven't really even seen them yet, or there's not even material out yet of what these devices exactly look like, how to connect them, what scripts to run, or whatever you got to run like that. But when they get their hands on them, that information will come out for us, so we will know exactly what it looks like, how to hook it up. Some of my devices only have 2 USB ports. One's being taken up by the SDR, and the other one might be taken up by a Wi-Fi dongle. So some of my devices might even need a wire adapter for, one in USB port with 2 USB ports coming out of it, if you get my drift. So that is one thing we gotta look at. Now, one of the biggest things I think that was released is, and this is kind of what I led up to in the beginning of this video, is for the people out there, the YouTubers even out there, who want to say that WINGBITS ain't going to make it, or even I don't even want to consider them competitors. At one time, maybe a competitor, but I digress. Yes, WINGBITS currently already has paying customers. That was released and discussed in the AMA today. That's not any kind of inside scoop from Grumpy or anything like that. That was discussed by Robin today. What they did say is Wingbits is providing a more optimized network. They are receiving more information than what is currently being offered in the industry to these customers. However, what Wingbits is lacking is redundant and enough worldwide coverage. There are a lot of open spaces still. When you go look at the map, you will see a lot of open spaces. And we kind of joked around and talked about that, middle of South America, middle of Australia, some of these other places who still need coverage. He talked about a certain line, and I was at work, so I trying to listen in one ear while I'm trying to do my work, another one. But there's a certain line around the globe that below this line, they need stations no matter where they're at. So if you live below the equator or whatever that line was, basically you look at the map and you see if there's any stations around you within 100, 200 miles. If there's not, it's right for you. And people ask that question. Hey, if I'm close to an airport, but they already have a whole bunch of stations, is it better for me to go find a spot that's isolated? I say yes, because in an isolated spot, if you're getting 10 or 12 hexes all by yourself, you're making a killing compared to what you would have. One guy right now in Gulf of Mexico on an island is making with one station, because he's right now by himself. He makes more in one station than I do with 14 stations. So that was discussed also. But yes, right now they do have paying customers. What Wingbits is providing them is kind of a secondary or supplemental data stream to supplement what they're currently getting from customers. They're currently under contract with those customers also. So if we can boost up their coverage by covering areas that are empty, then when you go to their map and you toggle on their stations, you can turn the airplanes off. You can see, especially the more you kind of zoom out, you can see some open areas that probably need some coverage. Some of these are going to be hard, I understand, but you look at where some of these areas are, and that's even if some of these stations are even online. So this one's online. Doing 200, but you start looking down here, and listen, I understand that not every place is an ideal setup. Not every place has cell phone coverage if you're using a cell modem. So look, I understand, but you have areas that are wide open, depending on where you live at. But as you can see, this southern kind of hemisphere side, he discussed more than once. I think it was a hint. Now again, I don't know what the topography is of all this, but they discussed there's a lot of open ground in Australia, even though there's a lot of coverage, of course, on the outside. But it's not hard to see that there are areas that need coverage. So even if there's not a lot, don't look at it as there's not a lot of flights to come over my house. It doesn't matter. As long as there are some occasionally, or wherever you're going to put the station up, you just need occasional planes covering these hexes. One a day, maybe two a day. They still need coverage. That's something that you need to look at if you have the opportunity to add stations in some of these other places. So one question that was asked to Robin was with Wingbits is, what are your biggest goals or your top 3 goals? What's your top 3 goals of 2025 as far as this project? First of all, his biggest goal was to make sure to get on mainnet and a smooth transition to mainnet and getting mainnet started, which, basically all of us want. We don't want them to rush into that. If you care about this project and you want to succeed, you don't want them to rush into that before they're ready. But one of the big things for mainnet is getting those Geosigners hooked up so that we know who's spoofing and get those taken out the system. And ideally, the people like us who are doing this the right way, we should see our tokenomics, depending on where those stations are, to come out or shut down. You should see an increase in your tokens. because you're not sharing those hexes with gaming devices. You know, number 2 goal is tokenomics and getting those established and getting those correct. I just discussed how some of this might change. What you're going to see is they're looking at different ways of to add, because part of their services that they're offering these customers is low level flights, like around airports and ground. I've discussed many times in my videos about how long does a plane take to go from leaving the gate to actual lifting off of the runway. How long are they waiting on a runway? Or how long, when a plane lands, does it have to wait at the end of the runway until it can get to its gate? And that's stuff that customers are looking for, that they can only provide. Wingbits can only provide to them if you're within a certain mileage or area of an airport. Some people say, hey, I live close to an airport, and really you find out they're 4 or 5 miles away. They need it even close than that. So they're looking at some kind of added incentives, and just looking about changing it also between totally saturated stations versus, one station by itself that's in a wide open area in the ocean can get 1,200 tokens a day, when some people are struggling to get 5 and 6. They want to balance that out a little bit. So I think you're going to see that change. And I know that they have a professional working on this, and I was told this in another chat, that they hired somebody who strictly handles these kind of things, who can run all these different algorithms and kind of figure that out, which I think is huge, that they took the chance and the money to pay somebody to do that for them. And that's all he does. If we change this algorithm, what's it going to, if we change this reward this way, how's it going to look, years in the future, that kind of thing like that. I think that's huge. So one of his third goal is making sure all the hardware is getting delivered. So we paid money. We all paid money for these HiveFix stations here, whether it was from, Helium Deploy or HiveFix or anything like that. Making sure those people get the hardware in their hands, get them set up correctly, get them online, because that's going to make this whole project way better. I think it's going to take this huge step up, a more professional level. Look at, I hate to compare any projects with Helium, but let's be honest. Helium was kind of the godfather, the grandfather, the grandpappy of DPIM. At first, Helium, you could use your own stations. Then they had the OG stations, and then you couldn't use those no more. Then they had, next version and stuff like that. And that's when Helium took that big step up. Now, they were like rabbits. They started producing way too many, and they had 900 something thousand stations. But at first, they did have DIY stations. That was right before I got in. I got in kind of right after that. There's only about 12,000, 15,000 stations when I got into Helium. But I still say that's when he took that next step. That's when he became a good player in the game. And I think that when these stations get online, I think you're going to see that. So that was his third and final, not final goal, but the question was his top 3 goals of 2025, biggest goals, and that was it. I'm sorry, the biggest goals of Q1 of 2025. He wants all 3 of those accomplished by Q1 of 2025. Mainnet, tokenomics established, finalized. Make sure that all the hardware is getting delivered. I think that's a big thing. They are expecting mainnet sometime around Q1, middle of Q1. So February-ish, I'm guessing. That gives them time to get those the GPS dongles in, get them set up, Geosigners, whatever you want to call them, get them set up. There's some discussion on how long they're going to allow you to wait to get those set up. At first, they were initially discussing 90 days. I don't think you take 90. Look, I got 14 stations plus my family members, and I don't think it needs 90 days. I think 45 days is plenty enough. Personally, I think even, and even other people have discussed, why not just do 30 days? And if you need longer than 30 days for some reason, you open a ticket up. The sooner we can get these Geosigners up and running, and they can start figuring out who's gaming and not gaming, who says they're in this location, but the Geosigner and GPS says it's way over here. The sooner we can get that done, the sooner we can see the possibility of going to mainnet. They're not going to go to mainnet if they think people are still gaming. So if you want to wait 90 days for that device, because you just don't have time to go set up and you want 90 days, then it's going to take 100+ days to go to mainnet from now, which now you're looking at March or April. So that's what that is. So they want to rework tokenomics to improve low-level flights and airports. They discussed that again. But they also want to put value into, if you can go into a new area that has no coverage now. So yes, somebody asked about, hey, if I had the ability to put a antenna right at an airport, like at the fence line of the airport. I'm not telling people go install it at a fence line. I'm talking about, let's say you live in a house that's right on a runway, on the side of a runway at the fence, but they also had a bunch of stations around you. Would you rather put that antenna there or a place with no coverage? I guess it matters with the tokenomics, and that's a question they're looking at. Me, I still say the no coverage right now. If you got a place where there's no coverage at all, no stations within 200 or 300 miles, there's a joke going on right now. They've even repeated it today in the AMA, but I've seen 2 different times people have asked, hey, I have a location. It's in this place. There's hardly any flights to fly over, but there's no stations close to me. And I'll say, hey, what's the city? Amarillo, Texas. And you look at Amarillo, Texas, and sure enough, there's no station close. Or in this location, this guy was in another continent, another country. He had the nearest station to him was 400 miles. 400 miles. So even if that station's going 200 miles this way, and his station would hit 200 miles this way, he would have every hex dark purple. He'd be number one because he's putting his antenna up above the roof line. I told him to stop what he was doing, pretend like he puked at work, told him you got to go home, you book a flight, you get that done yesterday. And I've told it to 2 different people. So now they joked today on the AMA about Grumpy would say, go get that done yesterday. And you darn right I would. Because I've learned around here, people are going to snipe you. I'm still waiting for Amarillo to show up because I let it leak out during a live or sometime that I'm talking to somebody right now in Amarillo, Texas, and I keep checking it because we finalizing everything now. I'm trying to get some stuff in for it, and I'm waiting for that white dot to pop up on Amarillo. It's going to happen. I'm telling you right now, every other place I've ever seen put in a station, it gets sniped like that. But that is basically the updates right now for WINGBITS. And I think this puts a lot of things to rest, and it should put y'all's mind at ease also, because they talked in the past about paying customers, and you have people again on YouTube and with previous and other projects that we don't discuss anymore. Like there's no paying business for this type of data, and people are already getting it for free and that kind of stuff like that. And we kept saying it's not true. Well, now they've said they already have paying customers. It's a supplemental deal right now to what it is, but WINGBITS is providing more thorough and optimized data compared to what they're receiving now. So, and that is what we're providing now with DIY stations. Can you imagine how good this is going to be when this is coming from devices with Geosigners on them? Because one customer, or I'm guessing it's one customer, could be more than one customer. One of the knocks was that it was using DIY, where if you use these stations provided by Hotfix, it's more of a standard. Chances it can stay upline, uptime more and things like that. And we know that was a request from a customer. So when I think those start going live, that's going to make this project even more attractive for customers. Again, none of this is financial advice. We don't know what 100% what's going to happen in this project. And I say it all the time. Not that I think this is going to happen with WINGBITS at all, but you never know. We could go wake up tomorrow and the WINGBITS website could be gone. An emergency could have happened and everything shut down. Nope. I've always said nobody saw FTX coming. Nobody saw the Terra Luna crash coming. And you never know. I don't think that's going to happen with this project. This project is fully doxed. They've even talked about how before they started with 2 or 3, then added Maxi. That was like 4 people, Mike, and they had their 4 team, and now they're up to, I think they said 12 or 13 people that they brought on now, someone working exclusively on this project. It goes to show you that there's growth here. and it should be a good feeling for y'all. Again, I know I'm already making this video way too long about talking too much, but hopefully that gives y'all the updates. Make sure I feel a little better on what's going on with this project. Make sure that you subscribe to my X. I'm always putting updates, especially updates coming from Wingbits. I share those immediately to get that word out. So make sure that you are on my Twitter, X, whatever it is. If you're still interested in buying a HiveFix project, Wingbits, geodnet by itself, Wingbits by itself, or Wingbits geodnet combined, or Prism, whatever it's called, the other device. Please use my code, TheGrumpyDad, on the HiveFix website. I get notified whenever somebody uses that. I still have people buying these products, and we are 2 months past when they first went on. The word's getting out. I think people know this project's going to be good. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. I'll keep you all updated. But I got a bunch of other projects. I got a bunch of videos to make right now. A lot of our projects have a lot of things going on, and it's just getting boom, 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 back to back to back. So Silencio is another one that is going to be coming out very soon. Still have the chance for an airdrop if you want to get in now. And when I do a Silencio video in a little bit, I'm going to say how Wingbits is doing the same thing. See how that works? But we're very busy. I don't sleep much anymore. 30 minutes, and I'm up at it again. And at my age, I need way more than that. But we have a lot of stuff going on. I'm excited for this. This is perfect timing for when they're coming out. They're coming out mainnet middle quarter one-ish, and you're going to have just the bull market just getting started. We know rates are supposed to be getting dropped either tomorrow or sometime soon. I haven't really kept up with that, but I keep hearing chatter about it. New president coming in, no matter whether you like him or not, you can't doubt what has happened to crypto since he got elected. You're going to have a crypto president, pro-crypto SEC, pro-crypto legislature being passed. I think that's just be gasoline on top of gasoline with a nuclear reactor and blow this up. These projects, whether it's this one, Soarchain, Silencio, Grass, these projects are coming out at the perfect time. 375 AI, they're coming out with mainnet at the perfect time because they just taking that stuff and just throwing it on there with the gasoline. They're going to watch it go crazy. Like putting nuclear fertilizer on it and just watching it grow like a weed. So we'll see. I'm talking too much. Let me get out of here. Thank y'all for watching. Keep up with this project with Wingbits. Wingbits.com. If y'all need to check it. Y'all can even go check that map I showed y'all with the locations. You don't even have to be part of that project. There's a map on the main homepage on top. You can go check that out. I'm sure there's some stuff I missed. I know certain people with that project are going to hit me up with this video releases to tell me what I got right and got wrong. But other than that, y'all keep up. Mondays is my for those who are new. Mondays are my videos where I wrap up all the projects we're in, including Wingbits, Soarchain, Silencio, Grass, 375 AI, Entropy, and those things like that. And Thursdays I have a live. Thursdays at 7 p.m. Central Time. Come into my live. We don't talk about certain things. Like we just chit chat. People bring up stuff in the chat and we just talk. And sometimes it lasts 2 hours. I'm like, guys, I have to go. Check out both of those. Thank y'all for watching. See y'all next video.